Hello and welcome to the show today. I'm your host, as always, Mandalorian, the X-Wing Jesus, and I've got baby Grogu along with me again today. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, you're happy. You're happy. He's happy because this show is all about my top five, Mando's number five heroes. All right. So we've been discussing a few things. Well, mainly I talk to him and he gives me a bit of a feeling that I'm right or wrong. So, yeah, all right, I get you, mate. Right, so we're going to start with number five. So, in at number five, as you can see from the background, he's getting excited. It's Din Djarin, the Mandalorian himself. Why is he at number five? We've only just seen him for a little while. He's number five because he's done quite a lot in a little amount of time. Yeah, he has. He saved Baby Yoda in the first episode of The Mandalorian. IG-88. It's not IG-88, is it? No, it's IG-11. Obviously, is going to bring him in cold. Yeah, he was. You might not remember that, but he was going to bring him in cold back to the Empire for medical experiments. I know, mate. I'm only just saying. Anyway, so he then goes back. He goes back on his bounty hunter creed and saves Baby Yoda from Imperial research. Yeah, that's you. Yeah. And then we go on to, it's got all the bounty hunters after him because he's broken the bounty hunter law or whatever it is, creed or whatever. He's done that. He's on the run, and in doing so, he goes off to some planet, and he ends up becoming a hero there again. He saves a village from the raiders. These are the first sort of episodes where we're just getting to know him, but he's almost stumbled upon this, and he saved Grogu because he sees himself as he was saved by the Mandalorian. So he kind of he takes it upon himself to save another youngling. So right, and then we go on from that. We're on to the prisoners episode where he stops. He's hired to do a job. He needs the money. He's hired to do a job. We get to the control room of the ship, and he stops his fellow mercenaries from killing the rebel officer that's in there controlling all the robots and everything, the droids, sorry. Obviously, heroic act goes against everybody else because they just want to, complete the job. Goes out of sorts with them, and then hunts them down and captures all of them for him. And yeah. So he's a hero again, and that pays off in season 2. After that, we're looking at he's then tasked with a quest. Again, he doesn't have to do any of this. It's just you've become his little son, haven't you? So quite excited about Din Djarin and that. It was very good. That first episode of season 2, he goes on to unite the Sand people with the people out in the desert, whatever they're doing. And they defeat the Krayt Dragon, who's been terrorizing the area. And so that's pretty good. Pretty good for it. Yeah, he does it with the help of everyone, but he's the one that unites the forces to do that. He then goes on to with Bo-Katan and all the other Mandos to assault the Gazanti. And he has to basically step out into the firing line there and luckily just get shot on the armor. Those Imperial stormtroopers, they sort of take it upon themselves to just shoot at people's armor. That's a bit odd, but there we go. We can't have him dying, can we? But again, becomes another hero. He goes on from that next episode, destroys another Imperial base back on Navarro or Navarre, whichever it's called. It takes out Carl June and Cargo Grief, or Grief Cargo. Oh, I get things mixed up. And then he goes on with Ashoka Tano. He then frees a world from tyranny, from the magistrate. Another previous Imperial ties there to Grand Admiral Thrawn. And once again, he rescues Grogu from the clutches of Moff Gideon. So there you go. They are my reasons for him being at number 5. In at number 4 is, as you can see, we're at the Battle of Hoth, and this is Luke Skywalker. Only number 4, people might say, but it's my top 5. So, Luke, what does he do? He's not a hero until the end of the film. All right, he escapes the Death Star with Han, Chewie, the droids, and Leia, but basically, breaks Leia out, escapes from the Death Star. He's thrust into. I'm sure he's not thrust into. He's quite eager to then play his part against the Empire in flying the T-65 against the Death Star. That's going to basically wipe the base out. So, yeah, Luke is the one who rescues everybody at the end. Yeah, it's your next Star Wars dad, or master. Yeah, I know you've had masters before, but that all ended well. Can't help that. Anyway, so so he does that, and his big heroic act is he then destroys the Death Star, and he's the one solely responsible for making that shot in a million. So, once you go on from that, you've got the Battle of Hoth. He basically takes down an AT-AT with a lightsaber. That's a little bit crazy, isn't it? So, on a grappling hook, or kind of a grappling hook anyway. And then we see at the end of that film, he stops doing his Jedi training with Yoda. Yeah, Yoda. It could be your uncle, could be your dad. Yeah, it could be, mate. What he's been up to, I don't know. But there we go. We've got so he stops his Jedi training to go and save his friends. So it's an unselfish act there. In doing so, he puts himself into a trap. Return of the Jedi. He comes up with a plan. They all save his friends from Jabba the Hutt. And then we're off to Endor, where he sort of goes, oh, made another mistake. Shouldn't have come. I'm endangering the mission. But in doing so, he sacrifices himself again. Although I think he senses that there's good in his father. His father actually wants to be a father, I think. That's sort of, he senses all that. They go off. He managed to turn Vader. And bring him back to the light side before he died. And so that was pretty good. And then he goes on from that to rescue all of the Mandalorian crew at the end of season 2. Yeah. He's quite excited about that. And he gets to fly in an X-Wing. Yeah, you did, didn't you? That was pretty cool. So there we go. That's Luke Skywalker. He then goes on to, form his new Jedi Order, which he may or may not be in the process of. I'm sure we'll find that out in season 3. But that is my number 4. Right, so number 3 on my list. You can see we're on the Rebel transport, or not transport, the Tantive Corvette. So number 3 would be the Princess Leia. And I say Princess Leia because that's her at her, I think, her most heroic. So she's been in Rebels. She's basically at risking her position to try and help the Rebels all the time. And as we see in Rebels, she's helping the Phoenix Cell and the Lothal rebellion trying to get steam in there against the Empire. And again, she's royalty. She doesn't have to do this. She's standing up for what's right against what's wrong. So that's pretty good. And we see that flip over at the end of Rogue One and at the start of A New Hope, where she basically, Vader, she comes into contact with Vader. They don't realise it's father and daughter, obviously. And she's standing there against a Sith Lord and she's giving it some. That's got a, after all those fleet officers have been killed by him. She just, you know, that's the was it that the captain of the ship has been strangled and choke slammed, and then she's there in front of him, actually going, "What do you think you're doing?" You know, she's putting on a brave front, and it's quite heroic, I think. And she goes on to be tortured by Vader as well. And she comes out, she's still giving it some to Moff Tarkin as well. So she's got some real guts. And when we see her finally broken out by Luke and Han and Chewie, she still comes out and she's still giving it some. So she's really spirited in that first one. She spirits the plans away on R2D2. Really involved in all the Death Star plans getting out. Then she's captured, but she escapes the Death Star, and then obviously retrieving the plans from R2 and everything. She helps the rebellion, and they go and kill the Death Star, destroy the Death Star. So that's pretty hardcore, you know, for her to do that. I think that's pretty heroic for a princess to do that. I mean, with Alderaan dead, that is the last bit of her being royalty. She's got to keep after that. And I think, you know, everybody respects her immensely after that. So then we see her, the next main bit we actually see, she doesn't really do a lot in Empire Strikes Back, apart from fall in love with Han. So, but then Jedi, she goes into Jabba's palace alone with Chewie, but she's pretending to be dressed up as Boosh the bounty hunter. And we see that sort of goes a little bit wrong, and she becomes what everybody's fantasizing about, is Slave Leia. And that's just crazy. So in a world and a universe that was never supposed to have bras, that's what George Lucas said at the start of A New Hope when they were making there. No women are going to wear bras. There's going to be no zips, no buttons on any jackets or anything like that. We then get Slave Leia with a metal bra. So he's kind of gone back on everything there. Bit of a weird one. So for all of us to lust after. So then she alone kills Jabba. She strangles him with the chain that she's chained up with. It's quite good. And then they escape Jabba, and she ends up with the fight on Endor. Goes off on a speeder bike, has a little bit of a crash and a tumble. It's fine. Gets involved with the Ewoks. They're all quite happy about that. And that's it. So fights on Endor, and then she has her Jedi training after she finds out that Luke's her brother, but doesn't give him any jip. How long have you known that I'm your sister? Ugh, crazy stuff. And then, of course, becomes a Jedi and flies in space. So there we go. She's my hero number 3. So at number 2 is, can you guess? We're on Tatooine again. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so, why is he hero number 2? Defeats Maul at least twice, probably numerous times he defeats Maul. Not always fatally defeats him so he's dead, but he defeats Maul numerous times. He also defeats General Grievous, 4 lightsabers, numerous times. He defeated Anakin, famously in Revenge of the Sith. And then he went on to successfully hide Luke and Leia so that Vader wouldn't know about him. I think he probably knew he had a son or something. He could sense that. Couldn't sense Leia for whatever reason. Must be the same reason as nobody knew that Palpatine was Sidious. There we go. Right, so in the end, he gives his life for Leia and Luke in order to escape the Death Star, and famously turns off the, you know what that is? It's the tractor beam. Goes out over the silly precipice, the big empty area inside the Death Star, massive Death Star, big hole in the middle. Unbelievable. That's like a big sort of like spherical polo. So does that. numerous times he's using Jedi mind tricks to get past stormtroopers and that, which is really good. Yeah, you know stormtroopers, don't you? He's throwing them around all over the place. Yeah. So anyway, helps them escape the Death Star. Becomes a Force ghost, more powerful than Vader could ever imagine. And that's because him and Yoda come up with the schemes and all that to put Luke in charge of the new Jedi Order. So, you know, he's kind of responsible for that. Even after his death, he's still having a big influence on Luke. And as we've seen, Luke's a big hero as well. And then there's all the Clone Wars sort of stuff, all the adventures he's gone on there. So, yeah, really important character, and he is my number 2. So before we get to number 1 on the list, let's just recap who we've got so far. So in 5th place, The Mandalorian, in Din Djarin. In 4th place, we have Luke Skywalker. In 3rd place, we have Leia. He's still happy about it. In 2nd place, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi. In 1st place, before I say that 1st place, I'm just going to run some of the other characters that could potentially have been a number 1. So the potentials are, we could have had, in my view, we could have had Ahsoka there. She spent all her life going through all of her adventures, trying to get Thrawn. Who knows, in a couple of years' time, she might be in my top 5. We have Poe Dameron. Again, did some fantastic, I think he's basically the hero of the Resistance. And, you know, you look at Rey, I don't think she really gets that. And I don't think Finn they really promote him that well either. But Poe seems to be the sort of hero character, even though he's not the main character. He seems to be the hero of the Resistance, in my mind anyway. And then what I reckon is you can basically have the whole of Spectre cell for Rebels. So Hera, Kanan, Ezra, Chopper, and Sabine. So they're all worthy of being in that top lot. I've not put any clones in on purpose because they just follow their army. They're following orders. All right, Rex might get a mention. That was nearly a big slip. It was like, whoa. Anyway, so number 1, we are on Naboo. This character comes from Naboo. I know what you're thinking. Has he gone really over the top and is doing something so controversial that it's just going to ruin this episode? No, I'm not. The number 1 is R2-D2. Now, the reason for that, he's literally spent 60 years fighting for what's right. All right, he's controlled by characters that are fighting for good and that, but he's a plucky little robot that we see in Phantom Menace. He's an astromech built on Naboo. He goes up to repair the ship that's been attacked. 2 of his buddies, bang, bang, gone. He's there, fixes the ship, back in, they escape, done. Straight away, he's already, almost being set up as for the hero he is. He does a whole lot of stuff in those first 3 films and through the Clone Wars as well, and almost gets his memory wiped by Cad Bane as on top of, that's the big thing to mention there. But he's playing a major part. So he's Anakin's droid through all through the Clone Wars up to the end of there. I'm not going to mention his name because you can sense what I'm thinking. I'm going to say Vader, but he's more scared of the other one, the other name. Anyway, so he then goes on to be Bail Organa's droid, and that's how he comes into Leia's possession. And obviously she entrusts him with the Death Star plans. So that, he's talking about secret mission to 3PO, and they have a disagreement fallout. He goes off his own way on a complete new world. Does she tell, when she programs R2 to go and do that? I know we're talking about heroes and talking about programming a droid, but does she know Ben's location and program that in? And you get, Luke comes into ownership. He goes off again, secret mission. They just happened to come across him. So was he going directly to Ben from where they landed on the planet? We don't know. But so I try not to say, there we go, because I do it all the time. Anyway, so they end up on the Death Star. And again, he's there in the computer. He's like the little hacker. And he's telling Luke and Han and all that where to go and where's the tractor beam and all this sort of stuff, and helping them out and trying to shut the tractor beam down, not tractor, trash compactor down. And so he's doing his bit there as well. And then when they finally escape, they're out and they go up against Death Star. R2's in Luke's X-Wing. All right, he gets shot. They complete the mission, blow the Death Star up. They come back. Doesn't get a medal. All right, he gets rebuilt, but doesn't get a medal. If it wasn't for him, there would have been no rebellion. That Death Star would have absolutely smacked the snot out of the galaxy. That would have been it. There'd have been total domination for the Empire. No medal. Still no medal at the end of Resistance as well. Right, so in Empire Strikes Back, what we see is we see him have a fight with Yoda. And we all know what Yoda can do. Yoda doesn't want to reveal himself that much, but it's still a little fight with Yoda. I know, mate. It's a bit of a crazy one. And we see when they go on the best bin, Luke's saying, look, we need that doing. Off he goes. It's being shot at. He goes across the hallway, does his hacking bit. And they're again, that's courage under fire. All right, he's programmed to obey Luke, but he's a courageous little droid. And then we see he takes part in the escape from Jabba's palace to free Han. And then again on the Battle of Endor, he's doing his best to save everybody by cutting them out of the net and making friends with Ewoks and stuff like that. So, and then he's still there. All right, he's sitting in the corner sulking because Luke's gone through the Resistance era, and he comes back. And I would have liked to see him having a more active role in that, because he's always been Star Wars. Him and C-3PO. But there you go. That's my number one. It's been a good one today. So thank you for watching, and this is the way.
Mandos, the